Hi everyone, it's me again, and I try and keep my channel, Bordo's Kitchen, updated on a weekly or a 10-day basis. We're about 17 since I launched the channel. So today I'm going to make chicken biryani. Now a lot of people have had this over the years that I've cooked. I enjoy cooking this dish. But here is the kind of twist to the chicken biryani that I do to make it easy to cook, retain the flavor, and have that thing about the biryani. So I make the rice separately, and I make the chicken separately, and then I layer it. We'll take you through the process. That's one thing I do. And the second thing is, when I make the chicken, I try and every time I make a biryani, I kind of change the flavor of the chicken so the biryani changes, right? So that gives me the flexibility of what type of chicken biryani I want in terms of the chicken dish that I make. So today I'm making a very traditional Indian chicken, and then mix it up with the biryani and mix it up with the rice in a way which I'll layer it and then make it into biryani. So that's the tale and a little bit of a twist. So let me take you through the ingredients. We've got here about half a kilogram, 500 grams of chicken, diced bite-sized chicken breast pieces, diced bite. We've got 6 eggs boiled, and then I have slit them on 4 sides. You can see the slits. And I'll tell you why and how we're going to cook this. So those are the key ingredients. And then I've got cauliflower. You'll never hear this, that cauliflower in biryani, chicken or mutton. Of course, veg biryani may have it. But I have found a reason why I add this. It adds the color, a white color. I'll show you again when I cook. And of course, carrots. Easy. Again, it brings the color, but also it brings in that flavor and the crunchiness. And not to mention the nutrient value of carrot, right? So, and it blends well. So that's the core ingredients. For the spices, I've got here cardamom, about 12 pieces. I've got clove, about 12 pieces. This is cinnamon sticks, about 4 of those, 4.5 of those of an inch size, and 2 dry red chili. I'm going to dry grind this, which becomes the spice. I've got turmeric as usual. I've got coriander powder, which I'll add. And I've got red chili, which is the Kashmiri red chili to add color, and a little bit of spiciness. And then I've got minced garlic, and I've got finely minced red onion, and I've got chopped tomatoes. So those are the ingredients that's going to go into cooking the chicken, which I'll cook now. And I'm boiling the rice. I'm making the rice in a rice cooker, typical basmati rice. And then I will do the layering, cooking and the layering to make the layered biryani. So let's take the next step. Alright, so now I'm going to start the cooking. So the first step is to make the chicken, light up my fire, and I'm going to use ghee, right? Again, I don't believe ghee is unhealthy 1 or 2 times a week, so I'll stick to that. And I'm going to put a tablespoon of ghee, and I'll let it melt. Spread it out a little bit so that it evenly distributes, and I will let it melt. Okay, the ghee has melted and it's hot, so I'm going to just put the minced onion or finely chopped red onion. I'll fry this in the ghee a little bit. Okay, the onion now is kind of turning a little translucent. The water is drying out. I prefer the water to dry out before I add my garlic. Otherwise, sometimes that smell of the onion retains. Kind of not completely cooked onion smell. If you were to imagine that smell, right? So it doesn't add to the flavor. So on this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. At this stage, I'm going to add salt. Now here, it's important. You have to make this chicken a little salty, because remember, the rice will not have any salt, right? So when you taste, try and make sure that it's at least twice more salty than otherwise in a normal curry kind of dish, right? Because then it needs to have that in the biryani, because I'm not going to add any salt to the rice. right? So I'll progressively add some salt and then do the salt test to make sure it's very salty later. So I've got the garlic done, garlic and onion done. To this, I'm going to add the chopped red tomatoes. Again, remember, when you say biryani, when you hear the word biryani, it's like a very complex, long-drawn cooking process. That with this, it becomes very simple, right? So I'm going to fry that, and at this stage, I'm going to add some of the tomato paste, a little bit of the tomato paste that brings a little bit tanginess and color as well. All right, now this kind of tomato, onion, garlic has cooked out well. Now I'm just going to add the chicken. All right, I'll add the chicken, stir it a little bit so that it blends out well into the sauce. Again, I'll add a little bit more salt. Remember, I'm going to make it saltier than it should be because of no salt in the rice. Alright, at this stage, I'm going to add, remember the spices, I'm going to add the spices, right? So remember the dry spices which I showed you, which I have now, which I've grounded, dry grind. I'm going to just slow the flame a little bit. I'm going to put all of it, all those 5 spices that you saw. I'm going to just put this there fully, all of it. Perfect. Then I'm going to add a heaped teaspoon of coriander powder, a teaspoon and a half of coriander powder, a teaspoon and a half of turmeric, and I'm going to add the Kashmiri dry chili powder, which adds color as well as a bit of spice, hotness to it, but I'm going to add only 1 teaspoon to it. So that's the spices all added. So you'll see how easy it is to make this dish and how quickly you can make it, as in the biryani. Just to give it a stir, mix it up well. This brings that biryani flavor into the chicken. And I keep changing my spices so that it gives different flavor. It's not the same flavor every time. So I'm going to mix it up well. Hi, now while the chicken is cooking, I'm cooking it on a slow flame right now, and I'll keep doing that before I kind of cook it finally. So while the chicken is cooking on slow flame, because it's absorbing the thing, I'm going to do the cauliflower thing. So I've lit my gas, put some mustard oil, 2 tablespoons. I'm going to let that heat up, spread it out evenly. And I'm just parallel processing with the chicken, and then that saves time. That's it, right? So let this go on for some time. Now, in my second cooker, I've got the mustard oil heated up. I'm going to add cumin seeds. All right. This is for the vegetables. So what the cumin seed will do is retain the flavor. Yeah. We'll add a flavor to because remember I have not added any cumin powder or cumin seeds to the chicken, right? So it kind of blends the flavor. So my kind of cumin seeds are crackling. Simple thing to do. I will add the cauliflower, stir it a little bit. Get no spices at all. So that's where the color comes in. You see in the biryani. Cooking adds to the flavor. I'm not going to add salt in this at all because I've added much salt to the chicken, which will bring in the whole, the savory to the whole biryani. As the cauliflowers are kind of cooking, got the oil evenly spread, I'm going to add the carrot, right? And then I am going to add some hot water. I'm going to just cook it enough to keep the crunchiness and yet it's cooked. Because remember, there's another process when I make the biryani, so I don't want to overcook especially the cauliflower. I'm going to put the cover in, slow the flame, and put it for 5 minutes, right? And it'll cook for 5 minutes. While that's cooking, let me focus on the chicken. I think the chicken is more or less kind of well absorbed. At this stage, I add all the eggs in there. What will happen is the egg will absorb, because of the slits that I have done on the 4 sides of the hard-boiled egg, it will absorb the spices as I cook, right? Now, what I'm going to do, the chicken kind of is more or less there. I'm going to add some hot water, increase the flame, add some hot water, stir it well. So I've added the water, stirred a little bit, keep the eggs well soaked in that spice. At this stage, I will do my salt test. Remember, this has to be a little saltier than I would otherwise want in a curry. I'm going to add 1 final spoon of salt, and that covers it. Give it a stir, and then I'm going to cook this, and this will become dry. I will not keep any curry. It'll be very dry with very little water in it. So I'm going to put the timer for 10 minutes on this side for the chicken, and I am going to cover it up and let it cook for 10 minutes. Hi, so my chicken is cooking here, and I've got it's slow cooking for about 10 minutes, and the clock has gone for 5 minutes for the veggies, which will go in with the biryani. So I'm going to, this is cooked because I don't want the cauliflower to be kind of soft. So you still see water in there. So I'm going to just make it high flame and dry out the water. And that takes about 4 or 5 minutes, and I'll constantly keep stirring it. So that it gets evenly, because I don't want the cauliflowers in the middle there to overcook again. So you kind of keep stirring it till the water dries, and that's kind of a sight sense you have to have. There's no scientific way of doing this, at least not for me. Maybe a trained chef may have, but not me. So I'll just keep an eye on it and let the water dry. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes. So I'm going to go offline. Alright, I've been kind of doing this for about 2 minutes offline, so now that's about it takes. So you can see the water is completely dry, and I'm just going to close it off, and I won't cover it, because if I cover it, then it'll continue to cook and the cauliflower may get soggy. I want a cauliflower cooked and crunchy. Carrots I'm safe with, but it's the cauliflower. So okay, the timer is gone. The chicken has been cooking for roughly 15 minutes. I said 10, but I increased it to another 5. So I'm going to switch it off, take it out, and as you can see, it has water. Now again, like the cauliflower, I'll try to reduce the water. I don't want it so gravy, okay? So I'm going to increase the flame, and I want that water to dry, not completely out, but I don't want so much of water. So, all right, as you can see now, I brought it to kind of, the water is more or less, I'm going to do this for another minute so that the water completely, it just soaks and there's no gravyish water in there. And while this is happening, if Julie can show where I'm cooking the rice. So the rice is being cooked here, like about, for this quantity, about 4 cups of basmati rice in the rice cooker. Comes out very grainy, very, so I'm going to, so everything was happening in parallel. The rice cooker, you don't need to bother, just put the rice in and let it cook according to the timer. And once it's cooked, I just stir it so that it blends well, the rice, and just keep it covered and keep it warm before I make the layered biryani. So this is, as I said, I can see that I am comfortable with the level of water it is right now in terms of evaporating the water. The rice is done. The vegetables are done. So now it's just to layer it. And Hi. So now is the chicken's cooled down a little bit. I've separated the egg from the chicken. There's a method to that madness. We'll come to that later. Here's the rice, the basmati rice, beautifully grained. Here's the rice. Here's the veggies, and there's the chicken with the egg. Now let me show you how I'm going to layer this. All right. So I'm going to take some rice, spread it. The rice goes right at the bottom first. That's one layer of rice, and I'm going to put a layer of chicken onto the rice, right? Just spread it out evenly on the rice. Not all the chicken, mind you, because it's going to be layered, right? And remember, the salt is in the chicken, so it has to be in multiple layers, which I'm going to show you. So there goes the chicken, and then I'm going to do the next layer of rice, which is on top of the chicken, which has already gone in. So you can change the quantity depending on the chicken you want. If it's just 2, you make 2 cups and reduce the chicken, accordingly do the veg. So that's the second layer that goes in. Put a little bit more rice, and then I'm going to put the veggies. All right. So this is kind of there. So I'm going to just take this, put the whole vegetables there. All right. That's the veggie layer gone in, beautifully layered. So when you take it, when you scoop the biryani, that's when the various layers comes in with the the florets of the cauliflower and the carrot, white rice. So there where the color comes in from, right? So I'm going to put the next layer, and then the final layer of the chicken, which goes in here. All right, so scoop all the spices out of the pan. So that goes in. Then goes in the last layer of rice. Very thin layer. Evening cooking. Now that's done. Now I'm going to take the eggs and just put them on the side like that. And we'll give it a little bit of press. Right? So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a press because I want the lid to close, so that the egg goes into the rice. That's done. Now the final step, the coriander. So that's the 4th color that'll come into the biryani when you scoop it to eat. I'm going to scoop it out. It's going to have red, white from the rice, yellowish from the cauliflower, with the florets having its own kind of theme to it. The eggs, the coriander, the chicken. So that's it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this. And I've heated my oven to 60 degrees. It's kind of warmish to the hot factor. Not hot, it's warm, 60 degrees. And I'm going to put this into the oven till dinner time, which right now it's about 6:30. Dinner is at 8. So it'll stay there in the La Creuset, heat resistant. It's fine. I'm going to close it. So that's it. That's my biryani, layered. And I've enjoyed it. Yash enjoys it. So try it at home and enjoy.